Another sunny morning and another vlog on the channel, prostate cancer and my life. It's one of these mornings where I've really thoroughly enjoyed my morning tea and my morning pork broth, which I made myself yesterday. It was fantastic. But it was also a morning where I once again took the opportunity to take a look at the options I have. And I am rapidly closing in on, not a conclusion yet, but we're getting there, that I will do the ADT on the 24th of January. And there are various reasons for it. First of all, then I figured out that the younger you are, the more aggressive the cancer is. And I am, in the aspect of prostate cancer, a young guy, being 53. The other one is that if I have a good PSA test that shows that what I'm doing has a good trajectory, I can continue that even when I put my cancer to sleep, and I will. That'll maybe just shorten the cancer or the ADT period. But as I'm looking at that, I also realized that Lupron, which is the go-to kind of drug apparently, it has a flare-up in testosterone when you take it. I don't know whether it's a flare-up every time or it's just a flare-up the first time. It's a drug being taken as an injection every 3 months. So that's one information I need to figure out. But I don't get why my doctor would suggest Lupron without anything else, because there are drugs out there that can help you with the flare. And the reason why I'm very positive about it is if you have a certain level of cancer and I take the Lupron, it will have a flare for a week or two where it increases the testosterone levels. That in turn means a probability that my cancer evolves faster and more in those 1 and 2 weeks. And since Lupron only puts my cancer to sleep, it doesn't kill it. It just leaves it there sitting, learning how to make testosterone itself. It just means that the volume of cancer that I have to battle later on, when it becomes castration resistant, is bigger. So it doesn't make sense to me. Why would anybody run that risk? I mean, if Lupron was killing off cancer, then I could understand it was just a matter of having a bit more cancer to kill, but that's not the case. The case is you've got more to battle down the road when you get castration resistance. But I was looking at those drugs, and that's what they call second generation drugs, because about 10-15 years ago, apparently, they found out that when the cancer recurred again, it was not because it got resistant to the drug, it was because the cancer learned how to produce testosterone itself. So it became, what I just mentioned, castrate resistant. And so the second generation drugs, there was a few ones that I've been looking at. One of them is called Casodex and the other one is called Darolutamide. Darolutamide is the newest of them all, and it just was approved by the FDA a year ago. So that's very new, and it's a very good drug, and obviously it is one of those drugs you'd like to get your hands on, because if you're using that, and I'm actually thinking they could use that on its own, because it stops the process within the cancer. And I don't see, but I don't know the details, why you should have a block on the testosterone production and a drug that prevents the cancer to produce testosterone itself. If the latter is putting a block to it at the root cause, there's no reason to kill the testosterone production if the cancer cannot make use of the testosterone. So that's something I also have to look into. But here's the kicker. The Casodex is a very old drug, well, not very old, but it is an old drug, and it's as they say, a weak version of darolutamide. But their Casodex should be much cheaper than darolutamide, and I sure hope so. But I still have to figure out what it's costing in Thailand in order to have that in my equation, because darolutamide, according to my quick Google search, cost $14,200 for 120 tablets. And that's one of the advantages I like by this. It's tablets. You take it at home. And as far as I understand, you take 2 tablets a day. So 120 tablets is 2 months of treatment. 2 months of treatment equals $7,100 a month. That's a ludicrous amount of money. Absolutely ballistically. It's way beyond anything I get my hands on. And considering that you need to be on this drug for, say, 2 years. maybe lifelong. It's just impossible. Now, Casodex is a different drug. It's much weaker. It does have the same functionality though, and I would not mind just using that. And that being I don't know whether it's a generic product by now, but I know that when I did a quick Google search on that price, it was $3,500 for 30 tablets, and it's a 1 tablet thing a day. So that is half the price of Darolutamide, but hey, Casodex is still way beyond my reach in terms of a budget. So I'm a little bit annoyed here, but I'm also really annoyed about the fact that people, they think that if you have even the slightest bit of metastases, then you are immediately transferred into the palliative care. They consider that a death sentence, where it is the matter of time when you get castrate resistance, and then they'll move on to something like chemotherapy or something else. I don't get that, because that's another question I have. A lot of questions in this video, because if I've got a prostate full of cancer and it's just barely erupted into a metastasis, 1 single lymph node found, mind you, why would they just go ahead and give me a hormone treatment without anything else? Because when I get castrate resistance eventually down the road, I'm a young man, so it's bound to happen. I mean, I don't think I've heard of anybody lived for 20 years without having an issue with the castrate resistance. Then I all of a sudden have a high volume of cancer that can go attack everything in the rest of my body. While if I do, for instance, radiation and eliminate as much as can be eliminated, whenever that castrate resistance happens, I will have a lot less to fight. It all makes more sense to me than just saying, no, it's okay, we'll just give you a drug, and once your immune system has been weakened enough throughout the years, let's say I'm lucky, I get 10 years before the drug becomes, or the cancer becomes resistant. Then I, in the meantime, has been pulling a lot of strain on my immune system, and because I'm on ADT, which is already a metabolic disease or disorder you bring yourself into with loss of muscles, loss of blood cells, and hypertension, and risk of diabetes and weight gain and all the other things, heat flashes and lack of good sleep. And we all know that good sleep is the foundation of a good health. So if I put myself and my body through all that shit for like a 10-year period, and then I say, okay, let's give me the chemo, it's like a death sentence. It's why we see so many people die of chemo. Chemo is a bloody 1918 chemical production that has been refined over the years, but they have never invented anything new, and it kills everything. It kills the good and the bad, and they just hope that the good survives before the bad kills you. It's just bloody stupid. Now, I have seen a few videos now, in all respect, but they are very new, and they all mention that it's only lately, within the last year or two, that doctors are starting to think about combination treatments. But here's what I am at. I'm not thinking of combination treatment, but I cannot use Casodex and Lupron because it's too expensive. I have no idea how much I gotta pay for radiation, and they say 6 to 8 weeks. I hate standard notes like that, because every person is individual. And I wish some of the doctors were capable of combining individual information with the knowledge they have, because I believe there's a brilliant amount of good data to get there. I mean, if they can see, okay, what do I do and what kind of personality do I have in order to reduce the problem myself, they might figure out there you don't need that much. You just need something to accelerate the process. You need something to push it forward. You need something to put a handbrake to it. But once the handbrake is there, you're already on top of things and keep on rolling. I know this is wishful thinking, but it is thinking, for crying out loud. It's not like dumbass is saying, okay, we'll do a prostate cancer. Yeah, you are this old. We'll give you a dose of 6 weeks and that's it. There can't be. When you're working with toxic shit like that, there cannot be one shoe fits all. Then you will make overkills on a constant and regular basis, because you're probably working on the safe margin if you want a shoe that fits all. And that means some people will get exactly what they need, but the majority of the people will get more than they need. Gotta get myself a hobby, so I got something else to think of. But some interesting things to figure out here. I'm really interested in Casodex, and I would hope that it's a very, very, very cheap one. And I hope we in 2024 had reached a point where it's actually a generic product. And I would hope that it is something that you just get prior to the injection of the Lupron, so that it takes the flare, and then once the testosterone level has been managed, then each injection is a matter of just maintaining it. It's not giving any flares because it can't. I kind of hope that's the way it works, and I would think that's the way it works, but what do I know? What do I know? The question is also, what do my doctor know? So yeah, that's the thought process for this wonderful sunny day. Until next time, stay healthy.